Right, good morning. How is everybody?
All right, actually, we slept well and we got a lot of sleep.
We did, well, yeah, we did actually. Can I just ask, because we've just done this previous, does it annoy you when I do like second takes of things?
No.
And we have to pretend we haven't done anything?
Depends how many second takes you're going to do.
Hopefully this will be the first and only second
Say
take.
it all again, don't we?
Yeah, so today's the day that we built up for with this trip. Fuck, I tell you what, I look rough this morning. Don't look like it. It might be the light.
That's better.
Oh, God.
All the wrinkles have gone.
So today's the day that we built up for. It's the beginning of this trip. All right. There's nothing. I'm not going to tell you what this trip is. I'm just going to let it play out and we'll see how it goes. So we're getting picked up in around about 10-15 minutes time. It's a 2-hour drive to almost the border with Belarus. Okay, Matthew's just going for a shit. Right, so we might as well tell you now because I'm going to show you a little bit about the equipment we've been given. We're on our way to Chernobyl. For those of you who don't know what it is, it's basically one of the biggest nuclear disasters in the history of the world. So we're on our way, we've been given a Geiger counter. Now this is the reading, the level in Kiev. We're just in the surrounding areas of Kiev. And the level is 0.12. Is it a micros? I didn't understand. I'll inform you later. Yeah, so it's just to compare really. On the way we're 0.12 readings for radiation basically. Right, so this is the first checkpoint at the start of the 30-kilometre zone. We've just got to go in there, we've got to queue up and show us passports and things like that. So I'll just show you, I'll talk you through the map which is behind us. So this here is a map of the 30-kilometre exclusion zone. The yellow is where people live, people have settled. Hang on a sec. So this here is the town of Chernobyl. And then if you go into the 10-metre exclusion zone, this is where no one lives. People work, but they work for a maximum of around 15 days. This here is the power plant of the city of Pripyat. Now the reason why the power plant is actually called Chernobyl is because Chernobyl was the old town, and the city of Pripyat wasn't built until the power plant was built. They were built at like the same time, so that's why the power plant never took the name of the town. So we're currently down here. First checkpoint, then we're going to travel up to there. Right, so now we've just come across the checkpoint and we're into the 30-kilometre. Is it 30 kilometres or miles? It's kilometres, isn't it? Obviously. Yeah. So we're inside the 30-kilometre exclusion zone now. There's not really very much around here to be seen, so I'll not bore you too much. Basically, when you come with to a company, you've got to come with a guide. You can't come on your own. You send all your details off, and they do all the work to get you approved. And then when your guide takes you to the checkpoint, the officer who's on there has already got a copy of your passport number, things like that. He just checks them against your passport, and then you're in, basically. So it's pretty painless. The only problem we've got is we came today, and it's a Saturday, so we never really thought about that. So it is super busy, but I can't show you because we're not allowed to film over there. Now we're inside the zone. We'll just have a quick look. Now, if you remember when we were in Kiev, I think it was 0.12. So we're inside the 30-kilometre zone, and we are reading now. I don't know if you can see it. 0.15, so only slightly higher. 1.4, so it just went down a little bit. So it's There's only slightly higher readings of radiation in here. So we've just stopped in a town which is not too far from the exclusion zone called Zalicia. There's a monument which is just here. Now this monument is here to celebrate the death of the people in the Second World War, so it's nothing to do with the actual disaster of the power plant. This town, I believe, had, was it 3,000 people lived here? Yeah, I'm sure she said that. One thing I find quite interesting is they didn't call it the Second World War, it was known as the Patriotic War to them. And to us English, we know the dates from 1939, someone's just fallen over behind me, 1939 to 45, whereas they actually know it from 1941 to 1945. So we've just come inside a building which was basically used as like a town hall, where they would have like functions, things like that. And just above, so as you can see, that sign there, it just says basically, "Long live communism, the bright future of all mankind." What I like about this here, obviously an abandoned car, just the irony of it still parked outside the garage. So, as you can see, the car is it's a Lada. Those older ones of us will remember them cars knocking about. So this is a much more traditional house. This is like a house for poorer people. As you can see, we've still got the beds. Just through this, in like the kind of porch area, this part here was where they kept the cattle. Just some pictures in there, probably storage, a bit of a pantry. This is the exterior of the house, a nice old wooden house. One thing you have to remember when you're walking around, a lot of the things that are kept in the houses and buildings that we're seeing in are people's belongings, because they were told they were only evacuating for around 3 or 4 days. So people obviously believed that and left all their belongings. So I think half the problem we have to remember is the things, how things are placed, isn't so much original as the stuff themselves. So people have done it for photo opportunities, things like that, which we will be seeing more of as we go on. So we're now on the entrance to Chernobyl town. As I say, Chernobyl town is actually in the 30-kilometre exclusion zone and not in the 10. If you notice, there's a lot of like pipes. You see them here, runs all the way around. They're for like the water supply. And after the accident, they moved these pipes onto to above ground, because obviously any radiation on the ground could soak in. So it's just much safer to have them running above ground. So just here, where we're all taking pictures, that is the welcome sign to Chernobyl. One of the iconic pictures, you see a lot of that, don't you? So, just having a quick gander at the counter since we're on the outskirts of Chernobyl town, and we're now reaching 23. Looks like it's backwards for me, so it looks like E50. But yeah, we're 23, so it's still a really, really, really low reading itself. So as we're just walking down here, these signs are basically every village that was in the exclusion zone. There's over 100 of them as you look down, so that's right up at the very top. And as you look back, the ones that are black with the red cross through, these are the ones that were inside the exclusion zone, where no one will ever live again. So just basically there will never be a town again. As you can see, the signs now turn white. This is just the end of the exclusion zone. So these towns or cities, the C's at the beginning, if you have a look, there, like there is C, that means a town. If you see an M, there's no M's around me, then that means a city. So yeah, the white ones, just basically the ones that are outside of the exclusion zone, but have still disappeared. So just here is a monument to the Hiroshima incident, and they say they learnt a lot from Chernobyl and used it here. The paper aeroplanes just symbolise Japanese culture with the paper. If you just see there's a dog up there, that dog seems to be following us everywhere, but it's gone now. This building in front of us, this is the old post office. If you just look there, you can see an electronic sign. I couldn't say the word then. What that sign is telling you is the radiation in all the villages inside the exclusion zone. Even the abandoned villages, it still shows you the amount of radiation inside them. And just behind me, this is the former town hall, but they now use it as like the headquarters for the management of the exclusion zone. So just here, at the time of the accident, Ukraine had separated from the Soviet Union, so they were beginning to get rid of everything to do with the Soviet regime. So very few things exist in this area. So like here, this is a statue of Lenin. It's one of the very few things that still exists. And then just around here is the court. And then the director of the power plant was actually sentenced in here. He was given 10 years. He only served 5 because his health deteriorated so badly, and they let him go home, and that's where he passed away. So just behind me is the church of Chernobyl. We've just been inside it. We're not allowed to take any pictures or film inside. Absolutely beautiful, it really was. This just over my shoulder with like the gold lid on. That is basically like where they collect holy water. And then times like Easter, people get blessings from there.
No, you're right.
So we just come to the just to the port, just have a quick look, and just when I turn around, you'll see some boats in the corner. These boats were contaminated. Let me try and just angle myself there. So there you go. You can just see the boats, which are basically sunk now. This is the old port area. As I said, these were contaminated, so at the times of the disaster, they were just left there. The good thing about me filming is everyone runs off without me. So when they start talking about what's going on around us, everything else, I have to get them to repeat themselves. Just want to show you all the dogs here. This is the hotel where we've just come to eat. We're in Chernobyl still. There's absolutely loads and loads of dogs. That little black one just up there, a bloke just got off this coach at the side of us, and as he was walking, it mounted him, started humping him. He couldn't get it off him. Oh dear. So all these here is the machinery that was used in the clean-up process after the accident. The problem you've got with these machines was that the radiation got inside of the mechanisms. We'll zoom in on this one here. So after a while, they stopped working. So they were just not deemed good enough. So what they did is they got what they call biorobots. Biorobots were basically just humans. What they did was they made their own suits out of lead, and then they just went in, did the clean up on their own. And there was an estimated 1 million people who were used as biorobots. So we're here to see the Duga, which is like, I'll turn around, you can just see it over my head, basically a massive radar. The area which this is in was like a military facility, and it had a town which housed about 1,000 military personnel along with their families, children. They had like a school and other basic facilities in here as well. With this thing, there's a lot of conspiracy theories saying that it was the cause of the of the Chernobyl accident. But again, they're just conspiracy theories. Now, basically, it was used in the Cold War to detect missile attacks, and the frequency which it used, people could hear it, detect it, and it was likened to the sound of a woodpecker, like a so people nicknamed it that. What they did was they shut it down, tried to modify it, change the frequency, but they realised then that the frequency wasn't any good, so they shut it down, tried it again. But they reckon it could sense like military attacks, missile attacks from around about 1,000 miles away. On video I can't really get the scale of this thing, but you know it's absolutely huge. Stretches all the way down there and all the way up there. The big problem we've got is we've come in November, and the struggle obviously with light. It gets dark at about 4:30, 5 o'clock. Once it gets dark, we're not going to see very much, are we? So that's the issue we have. So we're just kind of rushing to squeeze everything in. And because we've come on a private tour, we can try and get to see a lot more. But as I say, once we run out of light, that's it. It's game over, really. Just inside here, this was the electricity room. They said that the Duga used around about 10 megawatts of power. This was basically the server room from it. All the information which was collated was kept and analysed in here. Again, this room is vast. You can just imagine when it was going. This is the training centre, and up here shows you each type of missile and the characteristics of each. This is the control room for Duga. Tell you what's a bit disconcerting, you can hear all the water dripping. It's making you like look around thinking someone else is coming. It's very wet in here. Oh, look at that. This here is the command centre. The old panels. A very, very tall roof. And an old monitor. Bless you.
Bless you. Radiation.
See the big locking mechanisms on these doors here. Massive. And again, when you come through, there's another one. So, you know, we're just walking around now. This complex is massive. It's huge. Just walking around, we're talking. There's only 4 of us. All of a sudden, a bloke just appears out of nowhere. This tunnel is the full length of the structure. You can see.
Oh, that goes on for a long way.
You can tell just how long it is by Matt's sheer surprise. You can see a lot of metal lying around outside it. And basically, they decided to take it down. It was what we've been told is like precious metal. It was worth a lot of money, so they started to take it down. But then it was realised that the job itself was just too expensive to do. So they never bothered. They just took it down and left it. You can see some of the cabling here. You know, some of the wires which are from it, as you can see, that go across. just all lying on the ground. Just there.
You want to?
Yeah, if you want.
If you just have a look at the reading while we're here, it's only 0.20. So it's still not very strong. This is just the other half of it. You really can't get a grasp of the scale of these things. We just walked through the woods there, got attacked by some thorns. We've got a terrible guide, she's not protecting us at all. Glad she's not listening. A few facts for you while she's talking away. Now it's around about 125 metres tall. The smaller one, which is down at the other end there, that's 100 metres tall. And from one end to the other is around about 800 metres. There's just nothing that I can stand next to that will give you the idea of the scale. There really isn't. I wish I could, but. Jamie's just set off the counter. Must be his radioactive personality.